Uh-oh. Come on. You gotta stop this guy before he really gets going.
And if they're smart, they'll listen. Remember, without these fans, these superstars are out of a job.
Yeah, what it do, what it is, what it does, everybody. Welcome to another episode of the Looow Down Podcast. We're back again, and we're back on time, shockingly. The goal has been consistency. We're on the road to consistency, so that way we get episodes out on a weekly basis. And so, doing that, I had to... I didn't bench Jay Blink. I didn't put him to the side or anything like that. But we're bringing in the third man. He's the third man. We're bringing in the third man, and I want to introduce my guy, Big Mike. What up, Big Mike?
There's someone else.
There's someone else. Oh, there's someone else. Yeah, man. What's going on, Mike?
What's going on, man? How you doing?
Oh, man, I cannot complain. It's a Wednesday. That means NXT is going down tonight and the Miiiiiiike Classic, so I'm excited. You know, what about you?
Yeah, I'm really excited for the Miiiiiiike Classic. Ever since they announced the Miiiiiiike Classic last year, I just felt really passionate about that because, you know, Miiiiiiike, she was just a really great wrestler, and also it just gives a great chance for us to see the new talent and see a lot of talent from other companies come around and try and show us what they got too. So it's just kind of like a reunion too, because I keep up with a lot of indies too.
Yeah, definitely. I'm still trying to get to a PWG show if I can ever score tickets. So.
Oh yeah, PWG, those shows are intense.
I just want to be on the right by the apron, and I want somebody to do a tope so I could just see it. Like, wow, look at this guy. Just slow motion, you know, just see the whole wrestler just right past me. But yeah, man, so we're not even gonna, you know, we deal on the lowdown, we deal with the Monday Night Raw, we deal with SmackDown Live, we deal with New Japan, we deal with a little bit of everything on our weekly show. So we're not even gonna hold it because, you know, we have the beast that we call Monday Night Raw on Mondays. So we're really just gonna jump right into it. Raw moved a little funny for me. I'm not sure, and I'm just saying as an overall before we get into the full show itself. It was a bumpy ride. It got explanations to answers. Well, I guess I wouldn't even say. Well, it is an explanation, but it's not even. It's a question that I've been wondering, but it's irrelevant to really any storylines with Kevin Owens and, you know, him coming back, and, you know, we finally got a name for Braun Strowman and Ziggler and McIntyre, which actually fits them. So, I mean, I don't know, how do you feel about Raw as an overall show?
I just kind of sometimes feel like it's just kind of clustered together.
Yeah.
So it's just like the writer's like, oh my gosh, what are we gonna do for these 3 hours? Oh my god. And then when in the process of doing that, they just happen to remember, oh yeah, Braun, oh yeah, Shield, Roman. Make sure 3 promos each show.
Yeah.
And I just feel that sometimes the other talent will kind of they lose out on that. So when they don't have time on the show, it's just kind of like, oh, where are they at? We haven't seen them for 3 weeks, so what are we gonna do about them now?
For example, when AOP made their debut and they were gone for like 3 weeks.
Yeah, and they just reappeared this week.
Yeah,
you know.
Not to mention they reappeared. I believe about a couple of weeks ago they reappear, and then they're with Drake Maverick of all people. So we'll get into that too. I'm just Yeah, I agree with you though. It's definitely a cluster. You know, it's so much. It's 3 hours. You could tell and this is an age-old discussion about ever since Raw got the third hour. But it's 3 hours, and on top of the 3 hours, it's, well, let's just get something in there, content. But I feel like they're not looking at what the content it is that they're giving us. It's like, okay, well, let's just get anything in there, you know, like the Braun and Kevin Owens situation. Like, okay, I can understand why Kevin wanted to go after Braun because he had the Money in the Bank briefcase, but you fast forward to now, Braun has the briefcase and he's been torturing Owens, and Owens is helping Braun jump the Shield. Yeah, that didn't make sense to me last week, and it left me confused.
Yeah, it left me kind of confused too, and it's just kind of like they don't really ever have a payoff with what they initially do as far as rivalries or actions that go out with certain superstars, and then just like later on, you just kind of see like it fizzles out. It's like, oh, did you forget that you did this to him just a few weeks ago? And it's just like I kind of saw when they tried to justify it by Kevin Owens say, "Oh, you saw me help out Braun Strowman, but I just do whatever I want because I'm tired of the show."
Yeah,
it was just kind of like I've seen WWE fumble and do that multiple times throughout the years. And even before Raw was 3 hours, they did that. But it's just kind of like they kind of forget their own story just even within 2 to 3 weeks. And that happens even more consistently now with that third hour. And that's why I've always been like that third hour. It's a killer. It's a silent killer. But if they were able to just kind of go back to the drawing boards and maybe try to make the best out of the third hour, I just feel like it would work if they try and change the way they do it. But it's just kind of like that third hour is there just kind of to make more money, and we all know that. But
it's the extra money on the table, and that's why the third hour is there. You know, it's TV rights and things like that. But then when you compare and contrast and look at SmackDown and how SmackDown thrives as a TV show, overall as far as storyline goes, it's awesome. You know, everything is consistent. You know, everything, it feels good. It rides right. You don't have too much of shenanigans in the I take that back. You don't have too much haha, and most of the haha comes from the New Day, that's their gimmick. So you know, it just kind of makes sense for that to be where they stand in that, but they're champions, so you take them seriously too. You know, you get the dynamic of, okay, they play around, but at the end of the day, they can go in the ring. I can't say the same on Raw. Like some days you have who's a good example? Raw's roster is so huge.
It's huge.
Finn Balor's perfect example. Some weeks you have Balor on top riding high, like the Baron Corbin angle, and then next week here's Finn losing to Corbin, like the 50-50 booking as they call it. But it's like, who's really getting over? You know, like my biggest question is why, or maybe they're waiting. Maybe some things are set in stone in writing, because supposedly what it is they supposedly write backwards from WrestleMania through the year, and then they change accordingly as injuries or anything like that happens. So, you know, maybe they just got lost in the middle somewhere, and injuries alone kind of sidetracked that. I mean, I would get the like with Kevin Owens, I would get the argument of, I'm tired of the Shield if Dean Ambrose wasn't injured and the Shield situation was going on prior to WrestleMania. But once Ambrose was injured, Seth and Roman went their separate ways as usual.
Yeah.
So it's not like they've been around. They haven't been jumping anybody. They haven't jumped anybody since they powerbombed who, The Rock?
Braun.
Oh, Braun.
Oh yeah.
Well, you know, you're right. Braun was the last guy that they jumped, but that's in recent memory. I mean, since they've been together, I mean, that hasn't been their MO. So
yeah, and like even like when the Shield officially broke up the first time, it's last people they had against them was Evolution, and like only person that fully wrestles full time still was Randy Orton. So it's just kind of like, it was just when Kevin Owens said that, it was just, I felt like it was almost WWE's way of making up for why he helped out Braun Strowman. And it was just like, so you get to see, he's a heel who forgot who he's against, because you know, Braun Strowman's turn a few weeks ago, which made me really shake my head. Because I feel like Braun Strowman also, he could have been a great face, but
he could have. I mean, well, that's the thing is the backwards booking of Braun's the babyface, Roman's really the heel. If you're basing it off of, you know, what you hear in the crowd, and it's the age old argument of Vince is going to get Roman over by hook or by crook, but you know, that's something. It seems like it's changing, but as you see Roman feuding with Braun, it doesn't really look like it, but. I digress. We gotta get into this monster of Raw. So let's just go ahead and get through it. The show kicked things off with Michael Cole introducing Renee Young. She's now a full-time commentator. I think the wrestling gods who got Coach off of the mic every week. God, oh my God, it was like Coach wasn't even. It was like he wasn't even. It was like he was watching a different sport while he was commentating. So it just didn't. He didn't fit. He didn't fit with the.
He didn't.
But he was a good. It was good. I loved the jabs Corey took on him because of it. Those were great. You know, Graves picking on Coach, but kudos to Renee Young for taking that spot.
Yeah, I don't feel like she's. I feel like she's a very big improvement over Coach.
Yeah.
But as far as like what she delivers, I don't feel like it's nothing special over like, you know, anybody else from past memory. I'm not expecting like a JR or like I'm expecting kind of like a little mutual between Michael Cole and Corey Graves. So hopefully now it'll kind of give them a better balance, because, you know, sometimes I just feel that Michael Cole, he falls off as the play-by-play commentator. And sometimes he just switches over to color commentator like a big segue, and it's just like, wait a minute.
Yeah, he's kind of like the hybrid or something.
Yeah, he's like a hybrid, and it's been like that ever since his rivalry with Jerry Lawler.
Well, yeah, and then if you kept up with TNA and Impact, and they tried to keep that same thing going with Josh Matthews and
Jerry Borash.
And Borash.
Jeremy
yeah,
Borash.
Yeah, and so that just wasn't a good fit, but. Kudos to Renee Young. We'll get into we'll talk about her a little bit later in the top 5. But Braun Strowman, Dolph Ziggler, and Drew McIntyre, they came down to the ring, followed by all the heels on Raw, which would include Elias, Kevin Owens, Jinder Mahal, Sunil Singh, Authors of Pain, The Ascension, Drew Gulak, Mojo Rawley, and Mike Kanellis. He liked the comment of mine on Instagram. I cherished that comment, by the way. They surrounded ringside, and basically it was just Braun bragging about them beating the Shield, and how they basically repaid the package, and they are now going by the Dogs of War. Or
Dogs of War.
Yeah, maybe that's the tag team name. So because he said he called Ziggler and McIntyre his Dogs of War. Which is cool if Ziggler lost the shiny jacket, maybe, or came with some more grunge. But I like the name. I dig it. I'm for it.
Yeah, kind of like a dig to the Hounds of Justice. But yeah,
and it might be temporary. I'm just waiting. I'm waiting for McIntyre to turn on Ziggler at some point. But I don't know when that's gonna come. Let's see. It says basically how the balance is shifted and everything. Here comes the Shield coming through the crowd. Did it? Were you trying to figure out what they were carrying at any point in time when they came down from the from the crowd?
I was kind of like JR. Oh my God, they got a candle. What in the world is that? My God. Like, they got axe handles.
Yeah. Oh my. And I'm like, axe handles? That's kind of where I was at that point. Like, okay, axe handles. Is it because they're kind of lumberjacks around the ring, or maybe? There's nothing more intimidating than an axe handle, right?
I feel like a kendo stick would have did more justice. I don't know. They're trying to. I don't know.
I would have respected sledgehammers because of Rollins. Rollins' time with Triple H. I would have loved sledgehammers. You know, Roman feuded with Triple H. Dean had a match with Triple H. I would have dug that. I would have dug that. I just didn't take.
All 3 of them. Mm-hmm. So yeah, it would have just been a nice little knock.
You know, a nod to the H, but.
Yeah,
I digress. They came down to the ring. They started beating everybody up with their axe handles. I don't know why these axe handles. I just see them all jumping off of turnbuckles and hitting everybody as they jump off and hit them with an axe handle and go back up the turnbuckle and hit them with another axe handle. But they stood tall. McIntyre and Ziggler went up the ramp, and that was the end of that. It was a good opening, that's for sure. It opened up with a bang. We then switched gears to Nikki Bella with Brie Bella versus Ruby Riott with the Riot Squad. I don't know how I feel about. No, I lie. I'm not a fan of Nikki Bella. I love Brie Bella. Maybe that's because of her association with Daniel Bryan. But since they went so full on in with Nikki and John year before last, it just her being there just feels weird.
It does.
You know,
it's kind of like when you're friends with your homie's girlfriend after they break up and they're still there.
It's like, oh yeah.
Oh hey.
What's going on?
I don't know if I should cheer for you.
Is this weird?
Yeah.
You know, is this weird? No. No, but yeah, that's exactly what it feels like because even though John's doing other things and he's popping up at house shows looking oddly vascular with his new red body, ridiculously ripped. But
I need to get training tips from him.
Oh my god! If you've never seen Big Mike, he does not look how he sounds. I will say. I was expecting this gruff hello. Yeah.
It's kind of like when you see Brock Lesnar.
Yeah, that's it. You see this big beast, and then, hey guys, what's going on? I'm gonna slam you into the mat. Like, whoa, bro. Wasn't expecting that, but nonetheless intimidating still. But yeah, she feels like the girlfriend that you broke up with, and she's still staying at your house. In the end, Nikki Bella defeated Ruby Riott. I think she hit her. She hit her with the Rack Attack 2.0. Pun on the rack. And we switched over. We had shout out to the Connor's Cure. Big Show was there. It's always good to see Big Show there. I don't think he needs to be in his wrestling gear though. But he was on stage and they introduced all the kids with their ring names. And then they had a video. Then they had Drake Maverick with the AOP backstage. And like I said, we was gonna get into this. When Drake debuted with the AOP, he looked like Spike Dudley in a Shield uniform. He did. He looked like Spike Dudley in the Shield uniform. So for me, it's hard enough to take him seriously because he's so small. But now you're putting him next to these two twin towers, and they're aggressive. And then he's this British. Well, his background is like the British comedy wrestler, comedy talker, Rockstar Spud. I don't know.
Right.
I mean,
I was just kind of like, when I saw it, it really gave me the Dudleys and Spike kind of vibe. So I was just like, okay, we can see where this goes.
Yeah, I'm glad to. Go ahead.
Might get them over.
No, yeah, I mean, it just makes me weird out and think about like what was the issue with Paul Ellering, Like Paul, it was like reported that he didn't want to be on the road, but then he came out and tweeted like, I never said I love being on the road. Like I didn't have no problem with being on the road, and his daughter even came out and said, yeah, that had nothing to do with it. So I don't know. I think Paul Ellering, his promos kind of fit what they were doing. The last chapter, they had the book of pain. I would even respect Mark Henry coming back and managing them. The House of Pain, the Authors of Pain.
Oh yeah, the House of Pain. Yeah, that would be really
and
good.
Then they really be the faction that the House of Pain. I mean, he's not wrestling anymore like that. I mean, but even if you could, I think Mark could still go. He said he could still go, but nonetheless, I digress. It was a squash match against Nathan Bradley and Ronnie Ace. The match was only 1 minute and 23 seconds. AOP won with the Super Collider, which I still think made power bombs look a lot better as time has gone by.
Yeah.
What do you feel about this Triple H and Undertaker match in October?
Yes. Yes. This is best for business.
Okay.
Now, what's not best for business is that they're kind of diminishing Hell in a Cell in a sense because I feel like this match has been more promoted than Hell in a Cell.
Well,
and all the other matches with it.
They're pushing three of them, though.
You say what?
They're pushing 3 pay-per-views right now. WWE Evolution, the Super Show, and Hell in a Cell.
Yeah, and I feel that at the end of the day, they're almost losing focus in a sense because I don't know if you heard about the sales with Evolution. It's not selling that well, but with much reason because you haven't really sold the pay-per-view. Like, I get it. Like, you guys announced Trish Stratus coming out of retirement for her first singles match in a decade. Sorry to make you sound old, Trish.
Man, I know, but it's been 10 years.
Yeah. But I'm really excited for that. But I just even feel like the way they announced it, it was just really kind of like, oh, okay. Like they announced it. It accidentally got announced at the NXT pay-per-view in Brooklyn right before the day before SummerSlam.
Right.
And then it was confirmed via Twitter. So it's just like, oh, this is how we're doing monumental announcements now. I get like it's the age of social media and stuff, but it's just kind of like, wow. I kind of felt like hit below the belt. And there's even like internal talks backstage. Like they're just like, why would they announce it like that? So
yeah, I feel like Evolution, and I kind of talked about this on my the last episode when I was it was just me by myself, but there hasn't really been any build with WWE Evolution at all. There hasn't been we have matches announced and stuff like that, but I mean Trish versus Alexa, there's really no story leading up to it, so there's no reason why fans are going to buy tickets to see Trish versus Alexa or Mickey versus Lita. Why?
Yeah, my goodness, I was just really kind of like I was mind blown because I was like I was really mind blown because if you watch the Women's Royal Rumble in January, you could see the crowd went berserk when they saw Nikki and when they saw Mickey James and Trish Stratus go at it.
Well, I
was just like, in that feud, that would have been a great main event. Two moms still like going at it, looking great while they're going at it. Still, might add, and that could have been a great seller right there. It's just like, or even a triple threat for God's sakes: Trish Stratus versus Lita versus Mickey James for old time's sake. I just feel that if I understand that, and more than likely, what they're gonna do is give Alexa Bliss the rub because at this point in her career, Trish Stratus doesn't need it. Or they may have Trish Stratus win because it's Trish Stratus, and that's Vince's golden girl. Yeah. I'm just leave it at that. But like, I just feel that they could have kind of done something different, or even Trish Stratus and Sasha Banks, because they had an amazing interaction at the Royal Rumble too. So when they did Trish Stratus versus Alexa Bliss, I was just kind of like did like a little head turn, but I tried to understand because like. If you think about it, Alexa Bliss is kind of this generation's version of Trish Stratus. I'm going out on a limb here when I say that, but
it's just a limb.
That's a limb. It's just a limb. So I'm trying to be really positive about their match because I know Trish Stratus, she could be gone for 10 years, 20 years and still do amazing thanks to Stratosphere Yoga.
Oh, yeah, gotcha. I do the Stratosphere Yoga.
Yeah.
For women, It's not like DDP yoga for men.
Yeah, but and she stays in great shape, so it's easier for her to come back and wrestle. So I don't know. Maybe one of the reasons why they did that, they didn't want to have Trish and Mickey in the match because Mickey hasn't been that credible as far as a match. The best match I think Mickey has had, and it wasn't even on the main roster, is the match she had against Asuka, I believe, 2015 at NXT TakeOver in December, if I'm not for certain, when her and Asuka fought. And that was just an amazing match. And honestly, I just feel since Mickey's been on the main roster, she's just kind of been, as far as enhancer talent. But I don't want to get too far into that. But yeah, I just kind of feel both pay-per-views have taken the back burner to specifically The Undertaker and Triple H at WWE Super Showdown.
The last of an era. This is
the last of an era for the third time.
Yeah.
The last time they'll face for now.
What they did last week with Shawn Michaels and and Undertaker.
Goosebumps.
Oh, dude, it makes me want. It's like, okay, so is Shawn coming back? Is this the return of the? Well, he even said in the interview, this isn't. They're not. People need to understand if I do ever make a comeback or I have that last match, it's not going to be the Heartbreak Kid, Shawn Michaels, and we all know if you're into wrestling like we are. Shawn's a coach at the PC right now. Most of the wrestlers that are down there, Ricochet, Johnny Gargano, Tommaso Ciampa, Keith Lee, they're learning under the learning tree of Mr. WrestleMania himself. This where where you feel like charisma originated from in WWE, and to put that on a stick and dangle it like a carrot, in front of a horse. That's kind of rough because now I'm expecting to see Shawn Michaels and Undertaker at some point. Shawn Michaels already said he's going to be in Australia for that match. So. Is he going to do? Is there going to be a Sweet Chin music come out of nowhere? He said, like they set this up. They set up speculation, So I'm just wondering. But yeah, Triple H came out to bring it back home. He came out with a promo, and it was better than the first promo that he did. So we give credit to
So
where
much
credit's
better.
due, because the first promo, it came out of nowhere. We didn't even know why he was out there. When you see Triple H, it's a rare occurrence, unless he's injecting himself into a storyline. So he said his piece, and we moved on. I was half expecting to hear the gong, but they're probably going to save that closer to the Super Showdown. From there, we got into the Dolph Ziggler and Drew McIntyre. Well, excuse me, the Dogs of War versus the B Team in their tag team title match. It was a good match overall. It went about almost 9 minutes or so. Basically, as you know, the Dogs of War went over. And at the end, of course, they got jumped by Ambrose and Rollins, the famous Shield tag team. But they've all been tag team champions between all three of them using the Freebird rules. So, I kind of half figured that the Shield were gonna headbutt their way into the tag team picture, because it looks like, and it's just been feeling for years, ever since they reunited last year before the injury with Ambrose. It's just been feeling like they've been trying to put all the belts on them. Seth is the Intercontinental Champion. Dean is the only one that doesn't have a belt, and I'm pretty sure if there was a extra title there, or if he was 205 pounds, he'd probably be Cruiserweight Champion or something like that. But he's got bigger when he came back, so that shot that idea. But
yeah,
I don't know. I still don't know how I feel about this. I love I like the Shield. Never haven't been the biggest Roman Reigns fan, but
oh god,
it's really because they've been shoving them down our throats. That's my main reason.
2013.
Yeah, it hasn't been natural progression. So that match led into a segue where Ambrose and Rollins ended up in Corbin's office, basically pressing Corbin about them being arrested and why did they show up, because if they had to leave earlier because Corbin kicked them out or they would be arrested, and led to an officer coming in and if anybody noticed, his name read Ambrose G, which was never acknowledged. So he could have been a relative for Dean, for all we know. But basically, it led to Seth talking Corbin into getting them the tag team title match at Hell in a Cell this Sunday. So I look forward to that. I look forward to seeing Drew McIntyre mix it up with a little bit of everybody, with Ambrose and Rollins, and I mean, I've seen Ziggler mix it up with all of them. So I think this is more for Drew than it is for Ziggler, if anything. Yeah. We switch gears again, and we go to Kevin Owens versus Tyler Breeze. Kevin Owens, who quit for a week, came back the following week with an apron powerbomb to Bobby Lashley, the most uncharismatic man in sports entertainment. And then,
Lashley.
You like Bobby Lashley?
I liked Bobby Lashley from 2007. So when I heard that he was coming back, I was hoping that we'd have that same Bobby Lashley, but he was just kind of like, hey, I'm Bobby Lashley. I'm going to fight you.
Did you see Bobby in Impact, though?
Yeah.
Okay, because that's who I was expecting.
Yeah, it's just like, it's just really the way WWE controls their characters, and it's just really not natural. So I feel like that has a part to do with it, too. Or maybe he's just there and he just doesn't really feel it like how he used to, but... Well, it's just something about Bobby Lashley. If I feel like the best I've seen Bobby Lashley was like his last few matches with Roman Reigns, and then that intensity went right back down again.
Yeah, it definitely.
I really want to see him with the mean streak, because it's just like I can't really take him seriously, and I want to take him seriously because it's just someone you look at and it's just like, oh, this guy's serious.
This guy ain't playing.
You see him lay a promo with him, or match with him, you really got to say some disrespectful stuff or something. So,
you know what I feel? I feel backstage they're making all the heels baby faces and making all the baby faces heels, and I think it's because they think that if Bobby Lashley, I really think Bobby could get a good old, and when I say Bobby, I don't refer to Rude, because, and this applies to both Bobbies, B and B. If these guys were heels, they would be able to get the reaction that they need. And not cheers, but boos. I know that's more, and you know what? I take that back because Rude, his character, I think everybody's waiting for him to turn heel because as soon as he turns heel, and I think that's where they're making the mistake. You're putting us in a position where you're putting our fan favorites in the wrong position and we're itching for you guys to turn them. And the moment you turn them, yes, that's what we were waiting for, i.e. Becky Lynch. Becky Lynch should have been turned heel way before 2 years came up on her women's title reign. She should have been turned heel. But what happened? Now they turned Becky into an underdog. Unknowingly turned her into an underdog. And now the moment that she does something to get herself back on top, that's a little bit heelish, and they want to turn her heel. Well, no, we just want to see Becky win, and even with a little bit of attitude is cool with me. But don't try to force her to be a heel and turn on the fans and say you guys never backed me, because now we as fans, we can't boo. I mean, we're not gonna boo that because we know we have been backing her. The fans are the only ones that have been. So it's just irritating. It's confusing to watch WWE because you really gotta know what you gotta know what's going on, and if you don't know what's going on, you'll easily get confused, like with no hesitation.
Who's the heel?
Yeah, that's we'll sit there and who's the bad guy in this? And it's like, well, see the guy who's smiling. Yeah, he's the bad guy. Are you serious? Yeah, he's the bad guy. But it's rough. It's hard. It's like, how am I going to teach my kids to get into wrestling and they know they can't tell the difference between the heel and the babyface? You know, when I watched the Attitude Era, I knew who the bad guy was. Even if it was Austin coming down, I knew Austin was trying to beat McMahon because I saw last week that McMahon did something to Austin. You know, so.
But also, McMahon was a god at being dominant.
Oh, he was.
McMahon, well, I just have to give all the McMahons credit, but don't want to get off topic. But yeah, McMahon.
They played the heels.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're good heels. Kevin Owens came out and explained basically what happened. Well, no, the match never started with Tyler Breeze. He basically jumped him and gave him an apron powerbomb and left him laying. And then he basically explained what happened, why he left and why he quit and why he jumped Bobby Lashley. Basically blaming Bobby Lashley for Sami Zayn being injured and him not having his best friend, which it's starting to give me the contingency that Kevin Owens always needs a friend or something like that.
Yeah.
But, when he really doesn't, and he made his career off of being a solo individual. But yeah, whatever. He can now. He has carte blanche, as he likes to put it. He can do whatever he wants without having to worry about the consequences and repercussions. So we'll see how that plays out. I'm willing to give this one a chance. Supposedly, shoulder injuries heal. They take a while to heal, but we'll see what happens with Sammy. I wouldn't be half surprised if they even had him come back and join in on the antics with Kevin Owens. We keep it going to the other Bobby. I call this segment, who's gonna turn on who first? Bobby Roode or Chad Gable? Who would you call?
I really want to say Bobby Roode.
Okay.
There's just something about Chad Gable being so invested in being his tag team partner.
Yeah.
To just slapping Bobby Roode in the face.
Yeah.
And that's just because I know that's how WWE's antics usually is. That's how their turnaround to the story usually is. But with them, you never know now. Yeah. You really never know. It's like, I want to say Bobby Roode, but I just feel Chad Gable's going to be the one.
Yeah, because, Bobby has the glorious music and everything, which is awesome. It's supposedly, they're so high on it. And he did a podcast with Renee Young. No, Lillian Garcia. I take that back. He did Chasing Glory with Lillian Garcia, which is an awesome podcast. Definitely shout out to Lillian Garcia and the Chasing Glory podcast, where she gets the perspective of where the wrestler came from and through childhood and how they got into wrestling and things like that. And she talked to Bobby, and Bobby was just like, they're challenging him on, being a babyface. This is a challenge for him. Vince specifically asked him to be the babyface, and, he wants to be a heel, but Vince wants him to be a babyface, and he wants him to go out there and smile and all this other stuff because that's what Vince wants. And if you listen to all these other podcasts, like Something to Wrestle with Bruce Pritchard, and you listen to how they describe Vince as this person of he's kind of out of touch with the world because he lives in his own bubble or whatnot. It's like, you know, he does. It's like he only hears what the fans in his head are giving, and not what the actual fans who watch the product are giving in or wanting. So Bobby Roode just said be patient, and so that's what I'm gonna be, because what I have a feeling is that I saw this storyline in NXT with Chad Gable when he was on the hunt for a tag team partner. That's how he got Jason Jordan, but he would tag with different partners, and he would get too eager, and what would happen? He'd jump in, he'd win the match or whatever. And then he'll lose it, and next thing you know, the partner turns on him because he jumped in and got in and lost the match for him. So I'm gonna disagree with you, and I'm gonna say Bobby Roode is gonna get fed up with Chad Gable. It's just gonna be a long, slow build. They defeated the Ascension though. Moving on, we had our women's champion Ronda Rousey and Natalya. They defeated Alexa Bliss and Mickie James.
Her first actual match on Raw as well.
Second. I think it's her second. Her first one was against Alicia Fox.
Right.
Yeah, but it was just a rough match. It was definitely a rough match, to say the least. It was just, you know, you could Ronda calling spots. You could kind of just tell how green she was. You know, it wasn't one of those pre-practice tag matches like she had in at WrestleMania or anything like that. At the end of the day, though, I believe she got who won? Wait, they won. Meaning Ronda and Natalya, and she made her comeback. Tossed around James a little bit, hit the armbar, and got her submission win.
Jab, 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 jab.
You can see it coming. Jab, 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 duck. Jab, 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 duck. Okay, you know.
Back up. Break your arm.
You want me to throw you? You want me to throw you? Okay. I threw you. Oh, you want me to throw you again? I threw you again. Ronda Rousey calling her matches. Thanks, Ronda. We moved on, and then we had a stagehand handed Elias some tea backstage. He spat it in his face because it wasn't what he asked for, and he told the guy to fix it. And then you can hear Strowman in the back he's going, what did he say, dog hunting or big dog hunting? And yelling, where is he, or whatever. We see Elias in the ring. Took a shot at New Orleans Saints for losing on Sunday, the prior to, for anybody who keeps up with football. And then here comes the famous car crash and guitar. Yeah, man. Mick Foley's back.
Hobble.
Hey, he had a hip replacement.
Gradually making his way to the ring.
I hope he don't take a bump. I really hope he doesn't take a bump.
He can't afford to take a bump anymore.
I don't think he can.
He shouldn't have to take a bump.
He shouldn't, but they treat him like he needs to. Mick Foley came out, interrupted Elias, put him over, told him he wasn't really sincere. Fans chanted Mr. Sacco, and I was expecting him to get in there and choke Elias out, but I feel like they're saving that for Sunday for some odd reason. Could you imagine Mick putting Mr. Sacco down Braun Strowman's throat?
Oh my God!
You know what? I don't even see that happening. I see him doing that to Roman.
I
don't know why, but we'll get into predictions in a little bit. We should have did them as we went along, but that's neither here nor there. We'll touch on what we'll do is when we finish the Monday Night Raw, we'll do the Raw side predictions and do it that way.
Okay.
Let's see. Where am I? Oh, okay, there we go. Excuse me, I had to burp. I wanted to sneeze. I was gonna mute the mic,
Sound like
but I didn't.
Kermit the Frog, man.
Man, it's this lemonade I have over here, Tropicana. Is it lemonade? It's a lemon tea. It's lemon something. But it's good. Hopefully they're listening. We can get a sponsor. Anyways, Foley put over Hell in a Cell. Elias shut him down, basically telling them that we already know what you did. It's 20 years later. You could go back home. That basically the nutshell. And Mick Foley, who gives an awesome promo, gets hot on Elias and tells him, he hit up Stephanie and told him, don't let me just, talk about the past. Let me be a part of Hell in a Cell. She laughed at him. And and then in turn told him that he could be the special guest referee for the Universal title match. So it doesn't make sense as usual per the Roman Reigns championship run, but I digress. We'll just keep pushing and we'll just leave the door open for some unexpected goodness, maybe. I don't know. Then we had Mick Foley was allowed to make a match, and we got Finn Balor versus Elias. And as we talked about earlier, Finn Balor on the teeter-totter of wins and losses. He defeated Elias. It was an okay match, but he won with a small package, which no pun intended. They always talk about that on commentary. He's so small, but I'm hoping that ends now that Coach is off, and they don't talk about how big Balor is. We had okay. Bobby Lashley and Lio Rush. Go. I'm curious because you said you're a Bobby Lashley 07 fan, TNA fan, and Bobby was a good talker. He was a good talker. He wasn't a great talker, but the only way to determine this is how do you feel about Lio Rush?
I feel like his time will come soon. I just feel like he's still filling out, but I don't know. It's just this whole promo. I was just like, okay.
Have you seen the Man of the Hour gimmick that he does on 205 Live? Okay. So I'm gonna interject right here. You have to go back and watch Lio Rush because he debuted on 205 Live. Triple H is doing some stuff, and I don't know if you've heard, ever since the Enzo Amore situation with him having to drop the Cruiserweight title, Vince has been way less hands-on with 205 Live, and he's put it back in Triple H's hands. So so once that happened, that's when we had the Drake Maverick general manager debut, and we had Drake going, he was going in talking to the different talent and basically telling them, like he was telling, who did he tell this to? I want to say it was Jack Gallagher. He told Jack Gallagher all the funny ha-ha shenanigans is a wrap. I want to see, the real wrestling. This is what this show is about. So all that gimmick stuff that they were doing got pushed to the back burner, and all the good talent got to come up. So, they had the same wrestlers, and they needed new wrestlers to come up. So here comes Hideo Itami. Roderick Strong wrestled a couple of matches, went back to NXT because they put him with Undisputed Era, of course. But then, all of a sudden, here comes Drake Maverick announcing they did like a month worth of video package for Lio Rush, and he's the man of the hour, and he cuts these promos like, I'm the best there is, and my time was coming, and it's came, and he's like a black wrestler. He got chains. He got like a little Sloss and Swap Me gold chain that say Moth Man of the Hour in acronym. Like, he's dope. And then he does this frog splash, dog, where when he's in the air, his extension, like, he goes. Oh man, how do you describe it? So think about
Eddie Guerrero.
No. It's a little bit more athletic than Eddie's. It's almost RVD, but
nice.
Yeah, it's like a 5-star, but I'll give it a 6-star. A 6-star frog splash because he gets so much height, and he's able to literally take both of his hands crisscross together, go between the legs, wide legged, and then land. Oh, it's beautiful. You got it. You have to see some of this. So
I have to see it.
Yeah. So him coming in, and I say all that to say him coming in for Bobby Lashley, where his promos, he'll come out and he'll run down like he ran down Akira Tozawa and was just telling Akira like, you're a good wrestler. You might even be great, but you're not the man of the hour, and proceeded to beat Akira. No shenanigans, no fun and games, just pure wrestling. And so I think for him to go in there and to be a talker for Bobby is going to be a very, very good look. We're going to do a double episode. I just made that up. We're going to do a SmackDown, and then we're going to do a Raw, and then we're going to give it out individually. So yeah, Lio Rush the motivator. Motivate me, Leo. And Rush, come on. He said, what did he say? He said, you lift light, but high reps. You lift light, but high reps.
Yeah, I was.
I was weak. I thought about you too. I was like, I wonder what Mike thinks about this because he's a personal trainer. Like, lift light, but high reps. I'm like, oh my God, that's hilarious.
Yeah, he was trying to get him to get cut up, get lean.
Man, he was. Oh man, and I still got to get those tips from you. So as soon as you can, because I got to get wedding ready by April. So I'm taking all workout suggestion tips. And if anybody, we'll chill and grill at the end. Anyways, we then what did we have here? Charlie Caruso. She interviewed Strowman, grabbed the mic, asked Reigns where he was. Obviously, they didn't know. Reigns is somewhere in hiding. And I didn't see the end of Raw. I'll let you take the end of it. They announced. I didn't see it. I got to go back.
It was nice.
It was? I heard mixed reviews. But have you ever heard of Steven Larson going in Raw?
No.
Okay, they're a podcast. You can find them on YouTube or you can find them like on any podcasting thing or whatever. I listen to a lot of podcasts throughout the day. Xbox 360, Jim Ross Report. It's good stuff too. But on Steven Larson, they're like us basically, but basically podcasting and stuff like that. But they have this rule of if you stand tall at the go home show, you're losing at the pay-per-view, which is, it's never failed them. It never failed. And to see Roman standing tall at the go home show and being in a Hell in a Cell match, I have a feeling that this belt is not coming back with him.
I hope not.
You know, and we might see the dogs of war with all the titles, because I feel Ziggler and McIntyre can cheat to get theirs. And after seeing what Braun did to Roman with that stretcher last year, I don't believe that Roman can really beat Braun. I just think they just kind of give it to him. So, anyways, we're at the end. So it says Strowman came to the ring and said he was tired of waiting. And I'll let you go ahead and take it from there.
Okay, so, he was asking Roman to come down and get these hands. So Braun calls Roman to the ring. And then eventually after, Braun continuously keeps talking about him, Roman finally comes out. But Roman, he didn't come directly down the stage. He comes from like the side where the commentators are. Mm-hmm. So Braun runs at him and they just start brawling randomly by the Raw stage. And then Braun picks up Roman and manhandles him and just starts throwing him into the Tron. And then he drags him to the announce table, gets ready to power slam him through the announce table, but Roman picks Braun up after reversing his power slam, and he basically does a Samoan drop off like the stage, like this little fake padding. Yeah. And then that's how Raw ended. So I was just like, oh. Okay.
Seriously?
Yeah.
It left on a cliffhanger. Okay, so I gotta go back. I definitely gotta go back and watch that then. It's just it catches me off guard sometimes because I never know exactly how they're gonna end Raw. Are they gonna end it on a high? Are they gonna end it on a low? Or what? So, let me see. So really quickly, so that concluded. That definitely concluded Monday Night Raw. So
the only other thing besides I didn't point out was that he did threaten Mick Foley and said that what happened to him 20 years ago would look like a paper cut if he interfered in the match. So I said, oh.
I wonder, but you know what I wonder is, I wonder if Mick will get himself involved on behalf of the fans. Because Mick he's a fan of the WWE just like everybody else. He even posts stuff on Facebook, about the shows and critiques and stuff. And I'm wondering if they're going to, because I just don't. But see, I don't see Mick I don't see how he could be involved in any of this storyline at all. Right. Like he doesn't fit. He doesn't fit into this storyline with Braun and Roman. Like, and I'm glad we came full circle and we finally got Braun versus Roman for the title, because this is where we were always going to end up, whether it be sooner or later. But I just don't think overall that Mick Foley, is a good fit for this program. Well, and then to even say that, the two wrestlers in that we're talking about aren't even fitting in the roles that they're supposed to be in. They're supposed to be swapped. So, the big takeaways, I think, from Monday Night Raw, what's going to happen with Mick Foley, when he gets to the Hell in a Cell. Will Dean Ambrose and Drew McIntyre at the end of the day, will they solidify themselves as tag team champions, or will Seth Rollins and did I say Drew McIntyre and Dean Ambrose? Will Drew McIntyre and Dolph Ziggler, excuse me, solidify themselves as tag team champions, or will Seth Rollins and Dean Ambrose come in and get another tag team title reign? And then what happens with Kevin Owens and Bobby Lashley? Do they get a match? Are they pre-show? I got a lot of questions. So so let's get into the predictions real quick before we get to the end of our Monday Night Raw review. What are you calling for what is probably going to be, which I feel like is the biggest disrespect in the business right now, but it's probably going to be the main event, the Universal title, Braun Strowman and Roman Reigns in Hell in a Cell?
My prediction is that there will be a winner.
There will be a winner.
No.
There will be a winner. No draws in wrestling, right?
Yeah. I'm really rooting for Braun Strowman.
Okay.
I just feel like it was overdue. I felt that it should have happened at SummerSlam. That would have been really a great way to send Brock Lesnar packing.
Yeah.
But I feel like WWE just really wanted that, the Shield's back after like what happened the night after Raw.
Yeah.
So I'm really hoping that Braun Strowman gets his comeuppance and finally wins. I'm somewhat worried about how Mick Foley's going to be interjecting into the match.
Yeah.
I thought that maybe like with him celebrating 20 years of the match, maybe he would have tried to get into like the Triple H and Undertaker promo to warn Triple H. I feel like that would have made more sense. But I can understand with the whole Hell in a Cell pay-per-view being the anniversary too. That could be why. But I predict that Roman Reigns is going to win.
So you're taking your prediction is Roman.
Yeah.
That's your final answer?
Yeah.
Okay. Are we going? Is he? We going pin? We're going funky finish? Is some shenanigan or just Roman?
I thought
clean?
it was going to be shenanigans with shenanigans, but I really want Braun to win.
Yeah.
But I just feel that Roman Reigns is going to get it.
I'm gonna actually say Braun is gonna take the title off of him. Like I said, Steven Larson believe in the if you stand tall at the end of on a go home show, you end up losing. You end up losing at the pay per view, and I'm gonna stick with that theory. And I'm gonna say Braun Strowman is gonna go out on top, and I'm gonna say he's gonna go out on top on shenanigans. I'm a predict, and I can't wait for the text messages to come and say you called it, and I'm gonna be waiting for them. But I think the Dogs of War are gonna come out. Because I feel like they have more reason to get involved before the Shield does, and once the Dogs of War come out to try to get Braun over or interfere in some form or fashion, the Shield will come out, and somewhere in there with Mick Foley, whether it's a bump or he gets in the crosshairs or the crossfires or something happens. Mick Foley is the reason why Braun Strowman comes out with the Universal title.
I'm hoping for that.
Hey, it's hard to see though. We have the Raw Women's Championship, Ronda Rousey versus Alexa Bliss. I'm gonna go ahead and say Rousey. The way she no-sold Alexa the first time, there's nothing that can really be there. There's no reason why I feel like Alexa could come out on top on this one. If they didn't make it seem like Ronda was affected by Bliss by anything that she did. They didn't make it seem like her attacks were heavy on Rousey or anything like that. It just made it seem it looked like a squash match, and so I don't understand logically how you're going to put her back in for a rematch at a pay-per-view for Hell in a Cell and expect her to come out on top because she's been practicing an armbar for 2 weeks. Nah, I don't see that happening at all. My prediction for the Raw Women's Championship is going to be Ronda Rousey, in her plaid kilt.
Yeah, and that eyeliner.
Yeah, eyeliner. Always with the eyeliner. I hope they don't do nothing funky with her makeup. You got a prediction?
Ronda Rousey.
Ronda Rousey. Yeah. CBS says, and this is what they said. They say problem here is that Bliss had her arm in a sling the night after SummerSlam, which would have led to one to believe that a rematch would not be in the cards. Instead, it is Rousey nursing bruised ribs entering the match, which we didn't talk about. They got that. They attacked her ribs on the stairs and stuff, so they got her good. Raw is also giving us the Raw Tag Team Championships: Dolph Ziggler and Drew McIntyre versus Seth Rollins and Dean Ambrose, and I actually look forward to this tag team match. What I would like to see is one of these factions with all the belts. What I feel like I'm going to see is they're going to push it back, and I feel like one faction is going to have one set and the other faction is going to have another. So I'm going to actually say Seth and Dean actually come out on top on this one, and they have the belts, and Roman will lose on Sunday, because I just don't think they want to give the Shield all that power.
That would be a dream come true.
Yeah, let them get it and then Roman lose it, and then Roman has to chase, make him a real baby face, make him chase for the belt. But I mean, he has been doing a 4-year chase, and obviously that hasn't been working. But and then I think Raw gives us is Cedric Alexander fighting? Hold on, let me double check, because cruiserweights fall in cruiserweights fall into Raw. It doesn't say.
Yeah, I don't think so.
Okay, well, we do know that Buddy Murphy is fighting Cedric Alexander at the Super Show, and if you don't take the belt off of Cedric and put it on that man Buddy, you guys are missing out on a treat. And I know you haven't been keeping up with 205 Live, so that means you don't know nothing about the Juggernaut Buddy Murphy, huh?
Yeah, see, I was trying to watch 205 when it was like just a bunch of goofy antics, and it just kind of rubbed me the wrong way.
Yeah.
But I've been hearing a lot about it again, so I'm going to try to get watch it. I'm going to try.
Hey, what you do is get in after Enzo. Find out. I think Enzo was done after Raw 25. He was done. Yeah, so go back on the network and jump in there after Raw 25 and just see what's what. That's gonna cut it for. That's gonna conclude the Monday Night Raw Looow Down podcast review. We're gonna chill and grill real quick. Go ahead and you can check us out at the Looow Down Pod. That's TheLoowpod on Twitter. Get at us, tweet us, throw something our way, some questions or anything like that. You can find me on Instagram at LongLiveKingCJ. We're on Facebook at the Looow Down Wrestling Podcast. Leave a question in there. Leave a review. We are on the road to Apple Podcasts and Google Podcasts. We're going to get there. We're just on the road to consistency first. And
on the road to being glorious.
Glorious. Yes, we are. And Big Mike, you got any shilling and grilling you want to do before we get out of here?
I actually got to build my Instagram back up. I can get back to you in a few more shows.
Okay, so we'll be talking to we'll be hearing from Big Mike when he gets that Instagram going. But for now, guys, thanks for sitting in, and we have made it under the hour, and probably with some editing, it'll be less than this. But thanks again for rolling with your boys on the Looow Down.